To have passion in life is everything.
What's your Everest?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
that 200-inch buck?
They just look so impressive when they're wide.
Especially running away.
Welcome to this week's episode of Eastmans Elevated.
It's like a think tank for outdoor activity.
Sounds exactly like my hunting. Just always thinking about it, always trying to evolve it and make it better.
Here's your host, Brian Barney.
Yo, what's happening, guys? Got a brand new Eastmans Elevated for you. So on today's podcast, I have back on my buddy Josh Jenni. Josh is Josh is a blue-collar, do-it-yourself bow hunter. Works hard at his job and being a good human being, good family man. Also works really hard at his hunting. He's got great insight into do-it-yourself bow hunting the West. He hunts mule deer a lot. He's got a couple elk tags this year. We talk about that. We talk about late season and rigs and being prepared for conditions. We also talk about this sheep hunt where he committed to his bow and arrowed a sheep. Just made for a fascinating conversation that I really enjoyed, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it too. I want to thank my sponsors for today's show. I want to thank Kryptek. Kryptek, I started using them last season. I am so impressed by their gear offerings. I have the best backcountry setup I've ever had. They have absolutely everything to build your kit. So my kit consists of that Valhalla pants, and I love all their pants. They stretch with you. You're able to move with them. They're not restrictive. It's a great fit. But those Valhalla are a great set of pants. I also like their Sonoran shirt. So they have absolutely everything from early season all the way to late season. Part of that early season setup is a Sonoran shirt. So I'll be in Hawaii in some heat next week, and I'll be getting good use out of that Sonoran shirt. It just breathes, lightweight, has a good hood on it. Great piece of gear. I'm also using the Sentinel pants. So those are their puffy pants. This is a brand new item for them, and I'm really happy they made it. They're just a great set of pants. I've been using them for bear season. Really like them. They also have their Eris jacket. That's their puffy jacket. Tora jacket. That's their waterproof jacket. And they're using Scholler waterproof fabric, which is just a great waterproof jacket. Also using their Dalibor vest. They just have a bunch of great gear, but that's kind of my kit that I've put together that I'll use pretty much all the way from early season to late season. If you're in the market for some new gear, make sure to check them out. I really like their camo pattern, the Obscura Transitional. It's a good light-colored pattern for open country. I'll be using that a lot. I like that altitude pattern. It's got some darker colors in it, but it really blends in well with timber, with cover. And all the photos I look at of last year, I blend in perfectly with the terrain. So that altitude's a great camo pattern as well. So if you're in the market for some new camo, make sure to check them out over at Kryptek. I also want to thank Matthews. Matthews builds the best shooting bows. I'm so impressed every year with what they come up with. The last 5 seasons have been unreal for me using this Matthews bow. And this year, using that V3X, that thing is an absolute shooter. I have that thing dialed in. In fact, last night I was doing some long-range practice just to make sure my sight tape was all dialed in and just putting in some incredible groups for me. So really impressed with everything that they're producing. Forgiving bows, they keep a tune, they're durable, they have deep channels in their cams so it won't de-string. And once you set up a bow and get the tune in it, it just holds throughout the season. In fact, I can take last year's bow, shoot it through paper, and it's still just shooting an absolute bullet hole. And that's through the cold, through the heat changes, just building amazing bows. And these are a huge key to my success. So if you're in the market for a new bow, make sure to go check out Matthews. I also want to thank Swagger Bipods. Swagger builds bipods that are intuitive. They're well thought out, well designed. So they have all different heights, all the way from bench rest to a standing model. They have quick disconnects, so you can keep it connected to your rifle, or you can detach it and put it in your pack so you're not packing that extra weight on your rifle. Once you set up into the tripod will swivel so you can track your target. If your target moves left or moves right, you can swivel right with it without picking up your legs and resetting them. The legs also are spring tension loaded, so you can put them wide, you can put them narrow, pretty much set up for any shot. And the key to being a good rifle shot is having a good rest, and Swagger builds some great rests. They also have shooting sticks. If you're more into shooting sticks than you are mounted bipod, you can check those out. But just some great products. Make sure to check out Swagger if you're in the market for a new rifle rest. Over at Eastmans, I finally watched that new video. Yeah, I'm happy how it came out. There's always a few things here or there, but I'm really proud. It's one of the best videos I've put out. That'll be dropping on Beyond the Grid here soon. And yeah, we're just working away. I've got a new article I've got to get out today before I leave to Hawaii hunting. So we'll get that one out. It's about becoming a backpack hunter. Being a backpack hunter is such a huge asset, in the wilderness, in the backcountry, and also roaded areas. Is I use this as a real asset in my western hunting, and so I'm writing an entire article on that. And it's going to be a good long one with a bunch of photos, so super stoked on that. Be working on that thing today and get that out. And yeah, also make sure to check out our Eastman's Tag Hub. Are you wanting to take your hunting skills to the next level? This is where Tag Hub comes into play. There are over 800,000 data points on an interactive mapping module covering 11 western states and 7 big game species. Tag Hub also offers Eastman's Hunting TV, early access to Beyond the Grid TV episodes, exclusive member-only blogs, plus a member favorite, our Tag Hub 2-minute tips. All of this plus the long-trusted Eastman's Hunting and Bow Hunting journals. This is the real deal package when it comes to hunting the West. You can save 10% if you use the code 22828 at checkout for your Tag Hub membership. And with that, getting some work done, getting this podcast ready to release to you guys next week, as I will be gone, hopefully stalking Axis and Mouflon. Super pumped to go hang out with my good buddies and go do some chasing with my bow and arrow, go be in the heat. So it's going to be an absolute riot. So just trying to get everything taken care of here so I can get out of town and do a little hunting. So pumped for that. And man, let's get into this podcast. It's a great one. Josh Jenni, I'm your host, Brian Barney, Eastmans Elevated. Here we go.
Hello.
Hey, Josh, it's Brian.
Brian, what's up, bud?
Hey, what do you know?
Oh man, just another day trying to hustle and grind,
Ooh, I like it. Yeah, that's me too. Another day trying to hustle and grind. Man, it's been too long since we've caught up.
I know. I was thinking about that just this morning after you texted me, bud. I mean, it's been like 2 seasons past.
I know, it's been too long. Yeah, 2 years. That's what I saw too.
Yeah, but I guess we got some stuff to catch up on then,
Man, do we ever. Yeah, you've been going for it. Saw a really nice late season deer come across my feed. Congratulations, dude.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, that was a sweet little kind of a bonus tag I got on that new Nevada turn back first come first serve system they did this last year.
Yes.
So it's kind of like I guess I call it the Hail Mary tag, just because it was the very last month of the year, and it was just a perfect time for me to swoop up a tag, man. I had like 3 weeks off of work because of the holidays and because of the weather, and so it was just a perfect time to snag a tag like that, man. It was right in right in the local unit that I live in too, so I was able to really do it some justice, and hunt it pretty dang good. So it was fun, man.
Good for you. That that turn back program, you had to be on the ball, because it was like as soon as they turned back in a tag, then it would come up for sale. But you almost had to be on that site nonstop to catch something like that. What was your strategy?
Oh, man. So I guess you could call it a little bit of like an insider trading, man. I had so I had kind of been on there on and off throughout the week, just like, since I was off. And there was one tag that kind of popped up in the morning a couple times. It was the same tag. It was a late tag also, obviously, for, I don't know, a couple units over from where I live. And I kind of passed on it. I had it in my cart because you got to jump right on them when they pop up, right? And I had it in my cart a couple times and kind of gave it back. And then my stepmom had drawn that tag that I snagged, and she decided she didn't want it anymore. And so she said, all right, I'm going to turn it in. And the system is that within 24 hours, they'll pop it back up. And so she went down to Nevada Department of Wildlife, turned the tag in, and I sat on that website for several hours waiting for that tag to pop up, Brian. Like, so I kind of, in essence, it was everything I did was legal, but I had that insider trading that it was going to be popping up,
Yeah, you knew it was coming.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
Yeah, good for you. Man, that
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like a lot of your mule deer hunts have been in the early season, where this one was a late season. Man, those bucks are tough to kill in that late season, aren't they?
Oh man. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Actually, that was my first late season muley hunt like that. And I mean, I just found out I didn't find those big piles of bucks like you hear guys talking about. We were getting a lot of weather, like hard during that couple weeks that season was open. And they just seemed like they were kind of scattered about, and we were having a hard time finding anything that was a nice mature buck. It was not a easy hunt by any means. So yeah, it was difficult, man. And they're that snow gets kind of crunchy, and yeah, it's difficult for sure. I enjoyed it though.
So what were the dates on that hunt? Was it like a post-rut winter range, or was it more of a rut hunt?
Yeah, it was total winter range migration hunt. It was December 23rd was the opener, and it went through January 1st.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up taking the buck on New Year's Eve. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it was cool.
The post-rut hunts can be tough. Like, I know, rut's a good chance to get those bucks. And pretty much during the rut, you almost got to beat the does, or the bucks are moving so much. It's kind of like the blessing and the curse. Like, you find bucks because they come out of hiding, but then trying to kill them, they never stop moving. They hardly ever bed down, which can be tough. But that winter range, I've done a handful of those hunts as well. Yeah, a handful of those hunts, I guess, thinking back. And yeah, those can be challenging. So like you said, the bucks can start to group up or bachelor herd up and be on that winter range. But yeah, the biggest challenge is that snow, that crunch will just kill a hunt. It's one of the toughest things about late season with a bow is that crunch on that snow. Man, that makes it difficult. They just hear you coming.
Yep. And aside of that, the other big issue was the access, man. It was just, moving around in that stuff, when you're hip deep snow is just absolutely grueling. And, just really makes you consider where you're headed and really try to be ominous about your movements, and your stalks and, trying to, hold tight to those windswept ridges and all that stuff, trying to be mobile on that kind of stuff. But yeah, those snow drifts can just be insane and almost dang near untraversable,
Yeah, dude, it's the worst. It just has you dreaming of like dry ground and being able to get around again, because that snow, it puts such an exertion on you. Like, I think it takes like the effort of 3 miles to go 1 mile in that stuff, or maybe worse, if you're getting that real deep hip like snow like that. But yeah, it's a challenge all the way around. Like for your vehicles and accessing roads or just trying to get to the public land. Like and a lot of that stuff is sketchy. Like you're
Oh,
gambling
for sure.
your truck, which is, for us guys, it's like one of our prized possessions. But we have those things to use them. But yeah, you got to have, at least for me on the late season hunts. The sketchiest part of it is in the vehicle, it seems like. But I have chains for all four, and last year we got into a spot. I hunted a late season spot, and this was more like a rut hunt. It goes November through the beginning of December, but it's gnarly weather conditions. And then we made it to the top of the mountain up there and set up a wall tent camp in this really good spot in these rutting grounds that I like. But it was sketchy. At one point my truck had my buddy Dan up there. He had his vehicle, and I was following him out. And all of a sudden, he slipped and almost went over the edge, but made it through. And I was right behind him. And then where I slipped in that same spot, my vehicle went over the edge.
Oh my God.
One of those deals where we had to dig for a couple hours of just slick stuff, and I had to back out of the tracks and then cut in new tracks with the shovel. And it's just one of those situations where it really spooks you. Like, you can't wreck your truck down in the trees. I don't think the insurance company would be too happy about that. I don't even know if they cover it. They just tell you you're like four-wheeling or something. But it's a whole different set of challenges in the wintertime, isn't it?
Oh yeah. No, we had some good truck issues on this hunt. So like I was saying, I live dead center of this unit, and we've got all kinds of BLM around us. Great location to have this tag is where, and so it was actually Christmas night. I decided to take my fiance out for an afternoon glassing after we did, kind of the family thing, Christmas morning and stuff with the kids. And I took her out in the truck to a spot where I had seen a pretty good buck, I don't know, the day or two before. And I took her up in the junipers, and everything was fine a couple days before when I got up in there. But it had just saturated the snow, and the water just saturated the earth. And I pulled up into this spot where I had parked to get up on the glassing knob 2 days earlier. And as soon as I stopped rolling, man, my truck just sank to the frame in the mud. And I was way back in this BLM country where I didn't have cell service. And luckily my fiance, Brittany, she had cell service, man. And I had 2 bars. And so I called my buddy Sonny that had been with me the day that we saw that good buck. And so he knew exactly where we were, and that poor guy, but he's a good buddy, man. He broke free of his family on Christmas night and came out and was helping me. Him and his dad actually were helping me get that thing out. But we had the come-alongs, man. I don't have a winch on my truck, so we had the come-alongs out, and we were strapping off the trees and yanking on my truck trying to get it out. And we had it halfway out, man, and I blew a drive line.
Oh, no.
So we ended up leaving it there that night. He drove us home. And the next morning, we headed out. We got a bunch of snow that night. I mean, it just blizzard on Christmas night, dude. It snowed like a foot and a half. And headed out there the next morning, and my buddy's he has one of those little Honda Pioneer side-by-sides with I think he had like a 4,500 pound winch on it. We were going to try to just get the truck out of the mud. And on our way back there, we ran across a couple hunters that were back looking for deer. They had, one of them had a Tacoma that was all 4x out with the 8,500 pound winch and all kinds of good stuff on it. And then there's a 4Runner. We stopped, talked to those guys, and they're like, "Oh, we can give you a hand." So anyway, we went back. We brought him back there after getting one of them stuck, getting in there, and the guy in the 4Runner got stuck. So we got him unstuck, and then finally got up to a spot where we hooked the Tacoma's winch to the back end of my truck. And we're finally able to get it yanked up out of the mud, man. But gosh, what an adventure. So then we just it was a Sunday, and we just decided to leave the truck and keep hunting, because it was Sunday and nobody was going to be open for some parts to fix the drive line. So we just kept hunting and got to it a couple of days later, man, after we had a drive line built and got the drive line on the truck and kept hunting, So, yeah, I know all about that late season getting stuck. And there's people stuck all over the place out there, man, during that hunt. There was definitely more snow than we'd had the last few years in that unit. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's you're wishing for the weather because it gets the bucks moving and keeps them out, but then you got to be careful what you wish for. Like gnarly conditions like that, man, it gets tough to get around, and it's one of those deals where you're trying to access and you're trying to hunt hard, but you're also trying to take precaution that you don't wreck your vehicle or ruin your vehicle, and then that turns into your major concern, like you guys, like getting your truck out or not losing your truck or having to leave it for the winter or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you really got to be careful, and I think you got to build like a really good truck kit as well. Having the chains, having the come-alongs, having a battery jumper. Like I remember I did one late season hunt, and it was all the way down in New Mexico, and I drove all the way down there in my vehicle or whatever, and I had a pretty good kit put together, but I ended up stopping my truck, and luckily this spot where I camped was pretty close to civilization or town. I was just trying to sleep for the night, and then I was going to get up in the morning, cruise back into this spot. So I was kind of on the road I wanted to be in, and then cruise that country, first thing in the morning to get to the spot I wanted to hunt. And killed my truck, and then got cold that night. Went to start my truck and nothing. The battery's dead. And you're like in the, luckily I was close to civilization, but a lot of times I could be 100 miles from the nearest civilization, and went to use my battery jumper, and then that thing didn't have enough energy to turn it over. So I'm just stranded, I'm, 1,200 miles from my house. I know no one down there, and I'm by myself, and so I actually had to flag down a guy from like one of those oil and gas wells, and luckily, he gave me a jump and got me going. Had to go buy a new battery, but those batteries, they choose the worst time to go out. Like nothing had been wrong with that truck. It hadn't been starting hard or anything, and then all of a sudden, right on the middle of the hunt, it wouldn't start. But man, you really got to make sure you have a kit and you're prepared, and then you have to make good decisions. Like if it's too icy, or if it slips off the hillside, if you got to drive on a side hill where you can slide downhill, just got to make good decisions, and even with chains and things, you can get yourself in a heck of a predicament and even lose your vehicle. And so, like a lot of times, I'll park way before I have to, and then I'll just hike in, and so I'm hiking snowy roads and stuff. I think like a snowmobile for some of that stuff, or like those side-by-sides with chains or something like that would sure be advantageous, but a guy can only have so many toys or whatever, but definitely for that late season, man, it can get difficult just to get to the forest or just to get to where the deer are. Like it is an adventure, and we know like the dangers in the early season stuff. We both do a lot of that, but the late season, it's like a whole new set of challenges, which I'm sure you found out on this hunt being your first like real late season hunt.
Oh yeah, man. No, it was an awesome adventure, but yeah, like you, I've had plenty of moments on the early season where just, man, you're just back in the middle of nowhere, and if you're unprepared, it can really put you in a tough spot. I've always been paranoid about that battery going dead thing, man. I carry it. Never had to use it. I carry one of those jumpers, but I've always thought to myself, man, I'd really be in up creek with no paddle if I got a dead battery or whatever. I've come back from, onto the trailhead from being back 7 days before a flat tire. I've come back. I had one where I came back from the hunt with had gotten kind of hung up in the rocks, and I guess I had pinched the electrical to the transfer case and got stuck in 4 low, and I was, I don't know, 8 hours from where I needed to be, you know. And so yeah, definitely the vehicles. I mean, we all love the backcountry stuff, but you kind of overthink that end of it and underthink the motive of the transportation part of it a lot of the time, right? But
yeah, that's it. Also, like having that snow shovels with you is key. You know, got to have those things so you can dig yourself out, and it can happen.
That's right.
On any hunt. Like the bull I killed last year was an October bull, but we got this huge snowstorm where it snowed feet. And you couldn't even make it to the mountains to start hunting, and ended up just burying my truck in this snowdrift, and digging for multiple hours and chaining up to get out, and then so you never know what you're going to run up against, and you don't really think of those as challenges. But yeah, it's a major deal on all of these hunts, and I do have like a better battery jumper nowadays. I've got tire repair kit, and a little compressor that plugs into the cigarette lighter. And I've had hunts where, if you let your tires go too long, and I get good 10-ply tires, but if you let them go too long, where they're starting to get worn down, like you're just prone to those flats and things. And I've had it where on a hunt I've had 3 flats on one hunt where I continue to fix those tires and blow them up. And if you got to run back to a tire store, like you can't really be running your truck without a spare. So if you get a flat and you put your spare on, you almost feel like you got to go into town and get that tire fixed. Or like me with the tire repair kit, I just fix it on site, fill it back up, and I'm good to go. But that can ruin a hunt. Like in my early days, I remember getting flats where having to go back and find a tire store and get it fixed. So yeah, just preparing for all this stuff, because it can ruin an entire trip or whatever. But not only those challenges, but getting close to that buck had to be really cool for you. So you talked about the crunchy snow. Like, man, fresh snow isn't that bad, but the minute it gets that ice on it, it seems like, I've been on late season hunts before where I've had to pack it in for the hunt and just wait for better conditions, because that ice, those deer would just hear me coming from 200 yards away. And so I had one hunt where I had to adopt this strategy, and it was way away from my house. This was another New Mexico late season hunt with a bunch of snow, and so my tactics for that one was I'd spot the deer, and I would never stalk a deer in the morning. I'd have to wait till afternoon when the sun would come up, and it'd warm up that snow and get rid of that crunch where I could actually get close to that deer. Because if I stalked anything in the morning after the freeze, it just makes so much noise that those deer would hear me coming. And so there's a whole different set of challenges getting close to those things. Like, how did you get close to your buck or bucks in that area? Were you able to use wind noise? Did the snow get soft, or what kind of tactics did you use there? Because man, it can be so tough to get close to those bucks late season.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was just. It was weird, man. We were getting so much weather. It was freezing, and then it was warming up, and then freezing and warming up, and we were getting more snow, and then it would warm up. But that day had just gotten some fresh snow the night before, and so everything was pretty fluffy and powdery. And we had actually spotted this buck the evening before. We ended up getting him dead, but he was living up on this knob, and we glassed him at last light. Him and another buck that both looked like they're pretty good bucks. We couldn't tell exactly what they were, because when I say last light, it was last light. But we could see the frame, and we could definitely see they're better than just about anything we had seen yet on that hunt. So we knew where we were going to be in the morning. And the next morning, I had my buddy Sonny, who had been pretty much there with me the whole hunt, which was, I think, total we had 10 days on that hunt. And then our other buddy Tony was there that morning. So we were all kind of stationed in different sections off of this big knob that this buck was spotted on the night before, and we were all kind of glassing different pieces of it. And he ended up showing himself on the top after the sun was all the way up, and I spotted him first and kind of radioed over to the boys, and we put a stalk together. There was this service road that kind of went around the other side of the knob, and just gave me a good, clean opportunity to kind of sneak up the backside of this spine and just come right over the top of them. And luckily it was super windswept up there, so the snow is kind of that dry, dusty snow that just gets blown around a lot, and it was only about ankle deep, so I was able to just kind of get right up into his bedroom without him even hearing me or knowing what was going on. He was bedded under the junipers and just put himself in a bad spot for a guy to come up behind him. So
nice. You you bedded him and then made your play from there so he wouldn't move or anything. I love stalking bedded deer.
Oh yeah, it's the best way of doing it, man. It's getting them when they're up and alert is not something that's worked out too many times for me, but it works here and there.
It does work here and there, and sometimes that's what's necessary. Now, on that buck, did you sneak in close and then wait for him to stand? Were you able to shoot him in his bed? Did he hear you coming in and then get up and was alert, or how did that all go down?
No, I actually had a spot where I was able to just shoot him right out of his bed, man. He took it and, I don't know, went down probably 30 yards, piled up, man. It was textbook in that sense. It doesn't always work out like that, right? But it just for after 10 days of grind and, you know, breaking trucks and all that kind of stuff, and just to have it all come to an end like that on New Year's Eve was pretty sweet, you know.
Dude, that's as good as it gets. Yeah, it's a full effort. It's like one thing to draw these tags, right? And so we do all this application strategy and studying up on units and what's good units, and you put in, and it's one thing to draw a tag, or even a good tag for that matter. It's a whole nother thing to fill out on that tag, and even on the best archery tags, like success rates are going to be, 20%, 30%. I mean, you may draw one of the premium units where they're 40%, but that's still 6 out of 10 guys that are going home unsuccessful, and especially like on a trophy caliber buck like that great one you harvested. Like, it's one thing to draw a tag. It's another thing to fill out on it. And I think to fill out on these hunts, like I've drawn some good tags over the years, and even those hunts, they're never easy. Like, man, I got to grind on those things. It's never just show up and there's big bucks everywhere. I haven't drawn the Ponsagon, or I haven't drawn, some of these super premium ones, but I've drawn some good units, and it just seems like the key is not drawing a good unit. The key is like building your hunting skill set so you can go to these new units, whether it's a good one or a mediocre one or an over-the-counter or leftover tag, to be able to go there and be able to dissect the unit, be able to locate bucks, be able to put your stock together. But it's really like building your hunting skill set over the years, which helps you be successful. And there's I don't know how you feel about it on this late season hunt, but I don't think there'd be any way that you were successful on that hunt unless you built your skill sets in all these previous adventures, hunting mule deer and learning how to stalk and learning how to find deer. Like, that's the reason you were successful, not that you had a good tag.
Yeah, I would agree 100%, Brian. It's, we all have those moments, throughout our hunting adventures or career, however you want to put it, where we get lucky here and there, right? But for the most part, the being a seasoned individual that's spent a lot of time in the field, talked to a lot of people that have spent a lot of time in the field, done that research like you're talking about, seen a lot of animals, looked at a lot of animals, studies of animals. I mean, all that stuff basically sums up to success. And I'm by no means a professional, but I've definitely spent some time in the field, and I definitely have the passion that creates a really good persistence, and I just enjoy the suck of it, when it's not going your way. It's just, that's all part of it, and it all teaches you something, right? And that late season hunt for me this year there's a lot to learn from that. And had I not had the experience on other hunts that I have, I mean, I may not have stuck it out when I was getting discouraged for whatever reason. For me, a lot of it was not lack of opportunity. I had kind of set my standards on a higher caliber animal this hunt, so just wasn't seeing them, right? So I just had to keep that persistence and just knowing that things can change just like that, and they did, So just that persistence, man. 10 days later, or 20 days later, or whatever it is for a guy on a hunt, if you really want it, you've got to be persistent, and you got to remember your tools that you got. So,
dude, you're so right. Like 100%. Like persistence is deadly, and may be our biggest asset as Western hunters. Like you got to be able to grind, and you got to be able to take the lows and shrug it off and keep putting forth effort. Like there's like what we love about it is it's so difficult. It's such a challenge. Like to arrow a buck, like it can be a multi-year quest. Like it is no easy feat. But the only thing, or the one thing we can control, is our effort and our persistence. And yeah, it's it can all come together in one day or 1 hour or in a handful of minutes. Like you just gotta keep pushing, keep putting forth effort, keep glassing, and it is frustrating, and especially when you're in the moment. Like it's easy to look back now at that 10-day hunt and say, yeah, we grinded and earned our opportunity. It's another thing when you're in that hunt and you've been hunting for 5 days and you haven't seen a shooter buck, or 6 days or 7 days and haven't seen a shooter buck. Like it wears on you mentally. You start wondering what you're doing out there, or am I wasting my time? Like this is hardly even fun. This isn't what I signed up for. But like once you get the payoff and you've arrowed some bucks, it can come together, in one day or a few hours or a few minutes even, for that matter. And so like the controllable is to just keep putting forth effort, keep theorizing, what's my next play, where can I look? Just keep thinking that you can make it come together with one opportunity is all you need. That persistence, like, is one of our biggest assets out west, is just keep putting forth effort, just keep trying. And it's amazing when you get that attitude and you really believe in it, how many times things just come together. Like sometimes I'll be on a hunt that dang near seems like mission impossible, where I think, I'm going to keep putting forth effort, but I don't know if it's going to work out on this hunt. Like I just haven't found bucks, or it's, the hunting pressure, whatever the case is, but I'm going to keep theorizing, keep putting forth effort. And it's amazing, like, how many times it comes together, which is like exactly the case on your hunt and on a lot of your hunts, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, oh man, so I've got this kind of, it's not really a joke, but a running little philosophy / joke with one of my buddies, Tyler Cole. And I made him a believer in this philosophy the season of 2020 when I went to Utah for a general archery hunt. But I've got this theory that for me, and it's been this way for so many different of my harvests, where it's like it's a day 7 thing for me. Like I always seem to get it done on day 7. And so like 2021 or 2020, for example, I went to Utah and had a hunt with my buddy, and I kind of had backpacked into this wilderness area, or it was basically a border of a wilderness. And I got back there, it was about 6 miles, and kind of went back there solo. My buddy was hunting at the trailhead. It's one of his local units, so he had some bucks picked out that he was trying to hunt, and I was just trying to go back in kind of that country that I'd been daydreaming, looking over on Google Earth and all that stuff, right? That wanderlust that gets us going. And so I got back there and it was just kind of a bummer on how much pressure was back in this country, right? It was my first time in a Utah General Unit, and it was a kind of a eye-opening experience on how much pressure there is in some of that country, right? It was great looking country, and I saw some pretty good bucks, but you get up on these glassing knobs and someone left a piece of snack that was still there and there was flies on it. So that there's people in the area, or you're glassing a basin, and at first light there's a guy kind of creeping through right, where you're glassing, that kind of thing, And so I kind of packed out of there and went out and hunted with my buddy at the trailhead around day 5, I think it was. And I had one stock opportunity on a buck that it was a sweet stock, just didn't work out. It was one of those moments that the buck seemed to have that sixth sense that I was there, and I came out on this little rock outcropping on top of this cliff. I think I was like 50 yards above it and just like almost vertical, man. I was way up there, but perfect stock, man. Just dropped right in on top of him, and all of a sudden he just looked up. I don't know if he caught a shadow or what, but anyway, boogered out of there. And by then I was just kind of wanting to get back and kind of hunt some of those bucks that my buddy has been chasing around. And so we went back, and I actually helped him take a buck out of the country on day 5 evening. He killed a buck, which was awesome because that was his first archery deer. So I was super stoked to be able to share that with him, man. We kind of just did it old school, and he wasn't too far back. We, tied him up to a log and carried him out like a couple of Indians, It was a fun experience. But anyway, so day 6 comes along, and, I kind of saw some nice bucks, didn't have an opportunity on them. And then day 7, my buddy came back after getting his deer down to town and to the processor, and he comes back and he's kind of tired. And morning of day 7, he's wanting to sleep in. I said, "No, bud, you're getting up this morning. It's day 7. We're going to go kill a deer. It's always day 7. So anyway, we go kind of day hiking into the wilderness, 3 miles, nothing major. And we're glassing in the morning glass. It's super smoky. I mean, we've had smoke so bad all the last few summers, right? So that morning sun's coming up, the haze of the smoke is setting in real good. And we're kind of just making our way back to base camp for the, to kind of get a game plan together, but we're glassing everything as we're going. And I glassed down into this little saddle, a few hundred yards off the top of the ridge, and there's just a lone buck just up feeding underneath a tree. And so we kind of watched him, and he went down into this patch of trees. It was about an acre of a patch of trees, but it was kind of like connected to a string of trees. It was like, those high country kind of benchy strings of trees.
Yep.
And so anyway, we kind of watch him, and this is where the shameless plug to the Onyx comes into play, where we basically marked the patch of trees where we thought he went into on the Onyx, and I went down in there after him, and I'm kind of moving along the upper bench above the string of trees, kind of getting into where, within 100 or so yards where I thought I saw him, and man, I dropped my shoes and kind of put my stocking slippers on, which that year I kind of went cheap, and I was just using some of those jelly bottomed water shoes that the kids would use.
Mm-hmm. They work.
They worked, man. It worked anyway. So I stocked in, and I was able to pick up some fuzzy antlers down in the trees, man. I couldn't believe that I was able to pick them up, but there they were. And they were about, from where I was sitting when I first picked them up, they were about 80 yards down in the trees, and it looked like they were just kind of over the ledge to where if I got down in there, I could kind of clear the distance between the patch of trees that I was in and the patch of trees they were in, and kind of be up above them, concealed by just topography, right? So I ended up making this slow approach down through this clearing, and I just got right up above them, man. And it wasn't super windy that day. It was, I don't know, 5 mile an hour kind of breeze, just, steady in my face. And I ended up sitting, I was 32 yards off of these. I thought there was only one. It turned out there was a bunch of bucks down in this little group. And I sat up above that deer for 32 yards, Brian, for 7.5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, I was smart enough to bring a little water bottle with me. But 7.5 hours later, I had my lips were sticking to my teeth like I was Fire Marshal Bill, man. And I was ready for something to happen, man. But we need those, I guess, those little bits of encouragement to stay that committed for 7.5 hours on the side of a mountain, right? Because a couple times I had kind of lied, like he got up and kind of switched beds, and I didn't know if he just like had kind of fed out of the area, right? You know how so many times that happens, you're kind of sitting on a deer, they get up, but they're not in a spot where you can, draw on them or whatever. And you think they sat back down, but you're not sure, right?
Yes.
And so you kind of are just going off of faith that they're still there. And so I just kept that faith. And a couple times I'd see, some antlers start swiveling around, and I'd be like, okay, I'm good. So anyway, that's the kind of the bait that kept me sitting there for 7.5 hours that day. And anyway, it just like I had this plan in my head of where this deer was going to feed out to. I just kind of just based off of what I thought he was going to do. And I just kept arranging there's these two trees that I figured he was going to walk out and kind of feed for the evening. He was going to walk out in between those two trees. And, the range was 32 yards. So I had my pin set 32 yards. And yeah, sure as heck, man, 7.5 hours later, that buck got up, kind of held up in the trees a little bit, and just slowly kind of made his way right between those two trees, man. And he stopped and dropped his head. Like at first, he kind of looked like he was turning around and was going to feed back in the trees. And I was at full draw at that point. And so I let off on my draw. And then he turned again and just came back to me, and I drew back, and I just pinwheeled that buck at 32. It was, couldn't have worked out more perfect, man. So yeah, day 7 on hour 7, killed that buck, and what a cool feeling, man. But yeah, I think that was like the 4th or 5th deer that I had taken in the high country on day 7, man. It was weird. It's a weird number. So 7's my lucky number for hunting bucks in the high country,
Boy, I'd say, yeah, that's wild, man. Yeah, day 7. It's crazy. You did so many things right there. It's so tough. Like 7.5 hours on a buck. Like it's one thing to say that or hear that. It's another thing to be that guy that's 7.5 hours waiting on a buck to stand. Every muscle in your body hurts. Like your brain hurts. Like we're not meant to be that patient, And like it takes every fiber in our being to hold still. And it does help when you can see fuzzy antlers or that buck's still there. But even with that, it's hard. Like you come to some points in the stock where you're like, I just want this to happen or not. I just want this over with. Like something happen, either blow up out of here or kill him. But man, patience kills the buck, and good on you. Like you hunt them the same way I do, where you just get in close and you just wait. You keep that element of surprise.
Happen, right?
Yeah. And just wait for him to come out, and then, you executed a precise shot, never gave yourself away, and that's just incredible patience, man. I mean, your legs hurt from kneeling on them, your feet hurt, your whole body hurts at that point, and then to, control yourself and make that shot. And also, like you say, being prepared on the stock, like having a little water bottle that you tuck in your side pocket. Like I have a little 10 or 12 ounce water bottle that I'll tuck in my pocket on a stalk. Having the right clothing too. I killed a buck in Nevada last year where we were in rain showers and rainstorms and stuff where, I tie my rain jacket around my waist and try to get everything rolled up so it doesn't make any noise. But just having everything I need on a stalk, I can't, I don't know how many times I've been on a stalk where I'm in the shade and I start getting cold. And after a while,
start shivering.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to make the shot. And so just having like an extra sweatshirt, having that water bottle in your pocket, having your stocking shoes like you do, like having everything you need for a stalk and knowing that it might not come together in the first 15 minutes. I might have to sit there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 7 hours, like in your case, but being prepared for that and then being prepared for the long haul, to wait it out and be patient, keep the element of surprise. I mean, the other thing, like with that, like back to that persistence and keep putting forth effort, like it's a mental game more than it's a physical game. Like, we keep ourselves in really good shape so our bodies can withstand constant effort day after day. But it's not like a sprint. It's just like this slow grind to continually getting your mind right to go, okay, this is what I got to do today. I've got to wake up early at 4 a.m. so I can make it to this spot. Like, it's really easy to to start half-assing it and not putting forth the necessary effort. And once you start doing that, the hunt's over with. Like, you're not going to fill out your tag.
Yep.
Like, you start waking up late or you start looking from the truck instead of hiking into vantage points or, that's just the beginning of the end. Like you got to just keep your mind strong and your mind right. Keep excited about the hunt, even if you haven't seen a shooter buck for 5-6 days. It's like, well, where am I going to go today? What vantage point am I going to get to? And just it just seems like that persistence is more of a mental issue than it is a physical issue. Do you find that as well?
Oh, absolutely, 100% mental, man. I mean, we've all had those moments where we feel physically exhausted, but again, you mentally pulling out of that is what gets you getting out of bed the morning of the success, right? It's, every morning I wake up is like a potential morning of success, right? It's, there's no other way of looking at it. If you want to taste the glory of your, you got to wake up and just understand that, that could be the morning of the moment that just everything comes together and you're able to find the success in the situation. And it's mentally, if you're not able to just kind of keep yourself harnessed in the direction of the goal that you're trying to achieve, it's just maybe not gonna work out for you at the end of the day, so you got to have that mental grind and grit, and I guess you got to have the passion really to find a reason to keep that mental grit going. It's the passion is part of that mental play. You just got to love what you're out there doing. So.
That's it, the passion and the drive, and you got to love the entire experience. You got to love the difficulties, and like once you taste that glory of success like you're talking about, the payoff. And so then these hunts get easier because it can happen. The feelings of excitement and you're just elated at the entire experience, and those feelings can come. All you got to do is continue to put forth effort, and it doesn't happen all the time. Like sometimes you grind and you push and you give it everything you have, and every day, every hour you have, and it doesn't come together. And you just log that in your experiences, and like we were talking earlier, like you build those hunting skill sets to where eventually you turn the tide in your favor, and you keep doing all the little things, all the effort, all the hiking, all the vantage points. You keep doing that, and eventually it comes together. Not every hunt. You're going to have some failed hunts, as that's just the nature of the beast. But, you just step up, and the next hunt that comes up, you're just committed to giving it full effort again. And then day in, day out, you're just trying to keep that mental strength, that passion, and trying to put forth that effort to make it come together. So, man, you're spot on. on. It's just like so fun to visit, like with other successful hunters that just have this same theory on the grind, the same theory on persistence, this same mental edge to make things come together, because that's what it takes. It's like competitive in today's day and age. There's a lot of hunters out there that are putting forth a lot of effort to try to be successful, and it's not easy. It's like so challenging to arrow a great buck like you did, and it's just that is the key to it, and it's fun to hear somebody else like have that same experience. So like I also saw that you were able to chase a desert sheep. You had you got a U tag, and you were committed to killing that with your bow. Dude, that's a pretty cool experience to get to hunt sheep, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. It's a sheep, right? It's a ewe. So a lot of guys kind of lift their nose at that, but I looked at it as an opportunity to hunt sheep with my bow, man, and that's what I took it as. So I did. I drew a Nevada ewe, Desert Bighorn ewe, and that was 2020. Also, that was the same year as that Utah General tag. So I had finished up that Utah General tag and then moved into scouting that sheep unit that I drew, which was, 3.5, 4 hours from home for me. So it wasn't terrible to scout. But I think that was the biggest thing with that hunt, was just the scouting, man, and kind of learning that animal at the particular season that I was going to be hunting it in. It was super dry, arid country, as a lot of sheep country can be. And they are extremely committed to water in those kind of situations and at that time of the year. So that was the biggest thing I took from the scouting was A, I found a water source, and then B, I found a water source that was being hit really hard by sheep. And so basically that archery hunt was one that just came together just perfectly, man. I couldn't have executed it in a better way. It was just like, I attributed it to the scouting, the days of scouting. I went down there, I think 3 or 4 different weekends, and just kind of took tabs on the animals. I had a couple of different places picked out that I was going to hunt for, plan A, plan B kind of stuff. And opening morning, it just like I put myself in an ambush situation, and yeah, man, like hour and a half into first light, had a ewe coming in, and I just waited for her to come on into range, man, and just got it done at like 8:30 on opening morning. It was freaking awesome.
Man, it looks like you pinwheeled that sheep too. And then did your dad help you recover that, or was he with you on the hunt? It was pretty cool to share it with your dad.
He was, man. Yeah, that was what was most special about it was my dad. He's, I guess mobile, he cannot walk too far. He's got super bad feet. He was a carpenter up in Alaska and fell off a roof when he was young and broke his back and broke both his feet. So he can't walk real far for any amount of time, right? So that was the first time he was able to actually join me on a bow hunt, And so he was kind of off on a glassing knob, and he got to watch the whole thing go down. He actually was the one that called me on the radio to give me the heads up that there was some sheep coming in. And yeah, man, it was a cool hunt, man. It was a kind of just one of those, I don't know, I guess you could, as far as it was a native hunt, but I felt like it was like an exotic hunt of sorts, and yeah, just he got to kind of come down there and help me process the sheep. And then as we were processing the ewe, some rams and some ewes were coming into the water as we were processing ewes. It was crazy, man. That was what I was saying. Like, they were so committed to the water. It was just, I like to spot and stock hunt, but I also like to, play the whole game of chess, whether it's spot and stock or ambush. And so I just felt like the the best way to get the checkmate on that situation was to pull the ambush, and it worked out perfect, man. So yeah, I got to share that special moment with Dad, and got to check a kind of a to-do off the bucket list to get a sheep. My goal is to get a ram, obviously, with the bow, and that was kind of, I looked at that as like a morale booster for the fact that when I do draw that ram tag, because we all have so many years of application generally putting in for those tags, it was a huge confidence booster that I can get it done with a bow and not be, potentially, wasting 15, 20 bonus points on it or whatever it'll be. Right. So.
Man, how cool. Yeah, it is. Our life is like made up of these experiences, and I love to hunt mule deer as you do. Like probably, well, not probably. They are my favorite species to hunt. I love all the different habitats they take me to, the different seasons. But in that same breath, like I love to bow hunt, and these different species in different habitats, these different experiences, they all go into building that hunting skill set, being able to show up at a new place and figure it out and come up with a strategy, and then to be able to be successful. I think it makes you a complete hunter and a complete bow hunter. And so I'm always into new experiences, and I get so excited when I get to hunt something that I haven't hunted before, and I actually fall in love with like every species I get to hunt, or for the most part, it's like whether that's mule deer early season high country, or whether that's late season during the rut, or in the Badlands or the breaks, or it's all these special experiences. But then, man, I love to chase elk in September and during the rut and the bugle, and I love to, I've had the chance to chase goats with my bow, and then, axis deer and mouflon sheep and Himalayan tahr and antelope and bears, and like all these crazy experiences, and even across the U.S., like been putting in for ibex for 20 years. I've never drawn that tag. I'd love to one of these days, or Barbary sheep, or like all these are just these crazy cool experiences that are different in different habitats, and all these animals, they have different senses. They like sheep have such great eyesight and really rely upon their eyesight. Bears are nearsighted and they'll catch movement, but they're more about like dialing in the wind and making sure the wind is absolutely perfect, because they can smell 7 times what a bloodhound can smell. So it's like if you get one little whiff of that air wrong, or you get your scent in an area, you blow that big boar out of there. And so there's like all these specialty skills that it takes on these certain animals that I think go into building a complete bow hunter. And so, and I just love the adventure and the experiences of being in a new place. So I was like so thrilled to see you draw a U-tag and take on sheep hunting, because it is desert sheep hunting, which not many of us get to experience with our bow and arrow. But you did. You got to go scout that unit and put together a strategy and be in that dry, arid country and learn their behaviors and watch them and see rams and see ewes. Man, it's so killer. I think that for me is what really drives me in bow hunting, is I love these new experiences and new species and new challenges, man. It makes me feel alive.
Same, man, and thanks for that. But yeah, I looked at it as exactly what you're saying. It was another experience, another way to put more tools in the toolbox as a bow hunter, and get out in sheep country and see sheep, and film sheep, take pictures of sheep. I mean, just be in the sheep, right? And that's like, I guess you could call it a poor man's sheep hunt. It was just an awesome way to get out and get in some new animals, learn some new experience, and like you said, just tune that bow, skill set. I have not, I'm not against any, hunting is hunting for me, but I have definitely become very passionate about bow hunting, man. Over the years, I've, really tried to dig deep into it in any way I can. I actually took, this last year, it's been about a year now, I took a second part-time job in the little bit of spare time I have, working in a bow shop as a technician, man. And so it's like, I don't know, any chance I can to get better at it and good at it, I'm just taking it these days. It's just, the way to go next level, I guess, is you gotta really dig deep and find your new ways to learn. We get in the kind of a cycle of, as an archery hunter, or even just an archer, you start shooting, and then you kind of get into, really digging deep into your setup. Maybe it's your arrow setup, or you just, maybe a new bow every year. But I kind of just felt like I had gone down so many different roads, and I needed to kind of expand my skill set. So I did the next best thing was, get a job to work on bows, right, part-time. And that's been fun, super rewarding for me this last year. Learned a lot, so.
Dude, it's so smart. Yeah, you're right. Like, we got to be a student of the game and continue to learn and go down each one of these rabbit holes. And so, yeah, it's great. Like you, not that you have a bunch of free time, but now you're getting paid to get an education on bows, and you just get so much more knowledge when you're working on other guys' bows. You're in the bow shop, you're talking to other smart archers, you're taking in information, and then just gaining that experience of working on bows and that confidence too. And really learning to be a good bow technician is really just doing it for years and solving problems, solving tuning issues, solving issues like figuring out why a bow won't shoot and dialing it in. And, I've gone down that same journey and not working in a bow shop, but hanging out there a bunch, talking to really smart archers, working on my own bows, working on my buddies' bows, working my way through all these issues and learning as much as I can about archery and about the bow and the tuning process, trying different things and go, oh, no, that didn't work, or no, it shot better like this. But just really diving deep into all the facets of bow hunting, just like you've done, like working in that bow shop. I'm sure the knowledge that you've gained working in there is going to directly affect your success rate in the future. Like, you just know your bow inside and out. Man, it's so smart to go down these paths and really learn as much as you can, and that goes for all the necessary skill sets. I know physical fitness, mental edge, archery skill set, stalking skill set. Like there's so many of these facets that go into being successful, but the more time that you can do, like chasing down or going down each one of these rabbit holes, trying to further your knowledge, being a student of the game and constantly learning, constantly trying to make yourself better, like, man, that's the key to success, I believe.
It is. And I've been one of those people, right, that is kind of, I guess you could call it lucky, or maybe I'm not as diverse as some people might like to see, but I have chosen archery basically as my hobby, right? I don't have, like, I do go fishing and I do some other stuff, but generally speaking, like you said, I don't have a bunch of time, Brian. I'm like a lot of guys, I'm a blue collar tradesman. I'm a carpenter. I build and I work a lot of hours. And so sacrificially, I took the second job, with a couple of free time evenings that I have to indulge in my hobby more than anything. Right. But that archery and bow hunting is my hobby in general. So I've pretty much committed to, like, any free time I do have, it's usually going to be tied into my hobby, and whether that's working on my bow, whether that's my fitness and shooting my bow, it's all, or scouting for potential future opportunities with my bow. It's all kind of tied into the archery lifestyle that I've kind of acquired and I just fell in love with, man. So I feel lucky that I have that one passion that's in a hobby that's grabbed me hard enough to where I don't really have wanderlust in any other things. And maybe I'm missing out on stuff, but I just, man, this last 15 years that I've been doing this thing, man, it's it's phenomenal how much it grabbed me and caught my interest more than anything has ever in my life. So it's just, why not embrace that, and give it what you got and try to get, like you always put it, that master at your craft and become, just super lethal with what you got in your hands there.
I love it, man. It's you're right. It's a lifestyle. It's bow hunting 365. It's not just a 1 week season or a 1 week hunt or a 2 week hunt or whatever it is. It's a lifestyle, man, and it drives us. Like I think we're the lucky ones. We found what we love to do, and we have such a passion for it that we're willing to change our lives and structure our lives around it. And yes, we have other things that are extremely important to us. I know family's extremely important to you, as it is to me. But really, like with your story, if I remember right, Josh, like bow hunting changed your life as well as it changed mine. But it molded me into the human I am. It molded me into this great person that I'm proud of who I am when I didn't have that, or I was bow hunting in the high school years, and nobody's really proud of the human they are in high school, or at least for me, like I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, and I made some moves here and there that I wasn't proud of, that I had to improve upon. But really, like having this passion for bow hunting, having this thing that's grabbed a hold of us, man, it's molded me into a great family man, a great in business, great at bow hunting, like all these different things, just for my love of this hobby that I have, this passion I have for it, like that I'm constantly working to get better and structure my life around it, man. But it's really molded me into somebody that I can be proud of and be comfortable in my own skin. And not that defines the person I am, or that I base all my personality on bow hunting, but man, I just love it. I love it with every fiber in my being, and I love working at it. I love improving at it, and it just drives me. Like if I have free time like you, I am working to be a better bow hunter, or I'm thinking about bow hunting. Like I just love it. And so, man, I think we're the lucky ones that we've found that, and it's helped give us a purpose or a cause.
Yeah, no, I needed that. Like you said, it did change my life, man. I was, I was lacking that passion at a point in my life. And when I found it, it was like the light bulb got turned on, and I just wasn't necessarily even looking for it when I found it, but I found it. And, it's just been there for me. And like you, just spot on, man, just progressed into a healthier version of me by involving the bow. And there's all kinds of ins and outs I could go into of how it did so, but in general, I just decided to work towards a better me, and it included the bow, man. And I'm super thankful for it, and I'm lucky to have it. Like you said, I couldn't imagine not having it, and that's why it's like so important, with all the mentions of the health and the fitness. And I get it. A lot of people roll their eyes at all that, but it's all a huge part in it for me and guys like us. And I want to be able to be doing this well into my older years, and I'm not going to be able to do it if I don't take care of myself. And that's just the bottom line. So, you don't need to be in tip top shape to do this. But you kind of do if you want to do it for any amount of time. Right. So, yeah, I can't imagine a life without it. And so I'm trying to take care of myself in the meantime, and set myself up for the opportunity to be doing this with my grandkids potentially, so.
Man,
yeah.
That's it. Longevity, right?
Yeah.
Well, Josh, you're the man. What do you got coming up this season? Have you drawn any tags yet? Or are you still waiting for the draws to come out? I know you're waiting for Nevada to come out. You got a good chance there.
Yeah, of course, I'm chomping at the bits in Nevada. I'm getting up into the, kind of the could be's on some of those awesome hunts we were talking about, like sheep. Last year they started a new, they opened up a new hunt for the Desert Bighorns, where it's only for residents, but it's a archery only hunt. There's about 5 or 6 units that they're putting out available. They're not the top units in the state, but they are units that you can potentially find a good ram. So I'm kind of up in the running on points for those hunts. So obviously I'm crossing my fingers on those, but there's no gimmies in Nevada because it's a lottery, you know. But I do actually have a late season bull elk for Arizona that I drew, man. So
right on.
Pretty, yeah, I did. I drew. It's kind of. It was an unexpected draw, man. So I've been putting in for deer and sheep in Arizona for several years. I'm kind of late to the show on the Arizona scene, but I drew an Arizona bull, a late season Arizona bull with 0 points. So I was not expecting to draw the tag, but I'm ecstatic. So I'm stoked on that. My Thanksgiving is spoken for this year now, and luckily my fiance understands my love for this stuff, so she gave me the green light to get after it. So yeah, that's so far the only one on the board. I do expect to have a tag right over the border from where I'm at right now. I'm right on the California-Nevada border. I live on the Nevada side, but where I bought some property this last year, I'm kind of right. I'm up in this rural country, and there's a pretty decent California mule deer unit that's right on the other side of the border of me, and I've got the points to draw that tag this year for archery, so I may give that a go just kind of an opportunity hunt. You know, it's not known for giants, but there has been known to be some good bucks come out of there, and I'm like 3 miles from the border, so I should be able to do a tag like that justice just with scouting and time in the field. So kind of excited about that one, and then just we'll see what other tags come down the pipe. I've got tags in for application in Utah, so I've actually after I put in for the Utah tag just before the Arizona results came out, so I've got a fairly good chance of drawing a bull elk tag in Utah also, a limited entry with my buddy. I put in as a party, so it may be perfect where I have a September kind of a rut bull hunt and then roll right into that late season bull hunt up down in Arizona. So we'll see, but yeah, I could be busy this fall, bud. How about you?
Yeah, man, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I've got apps in. My season's starting to come together, so yeah, ending up with some tags. So I got a late season deer tag. I've got my tags here in Montana and a good plan for those. Some big mountain ranges and kind of some different hunts that I'll be doing. So yeah, I'm getting stoked, man. It's starting to come together, and I still got some draws that are going to come out. But yeah, it'll be another full season, which is good, which is exactly what I want. But yeah, you might have an elk season coming up, man. That's awesome with that Arizona tag. I've looked at those late season tags. It's just an awesome opportunity, as everybody wants to draw the rut hunts, but you can draw some really good units and hunt that late season, like around that Thanksgiving. And I love hunting post-rut bulls. Like when I first moved to Montana, I cut my teeth. Like I think I've been archery only for about 15 years now or so. But before that, I was just looking for good bulls, and I got to hunt the bow and the rifle season. And so I gained a lot of experience and knowledge, like grinding in the late season for these post-rut bulls, and they're really high-pressure general units. It was with the rifle, but I really enjoyed that and really learned a lot from it. And so those Arizona opportunities to be able to go into a really good unit or a decent unit that has the potential for a good bull and be able to hunt it with low points in some of those later seasons. And the success odds aren't as good, but they do have success odds. There are guys that fill out on those hunts and fill out on good bulls, and it's really like right up your alley. Like it's like a lot like mule deer. Like, and I don't call to elk. I'm all spot and stock. And so for me, sure, the rut gives me a better opportunity. They're bugling, the bulls are with the cows, but really, for my spot and stock style, the late season, like that late hunt in Arizona, would really fit my skill set pretty good, which I think it'll fit your skill set really good as well. So yeah, congratulations, man. You got a good season.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I'm stoked. It's one of those hunts, like you said, you can get that tag a few times in your life, right? Even though it is it's an Arizona bull, right? So it's not a gimme, but I was talking to a guy that I got his contact info through kind of one of these tag research outfits, and we were talking, man, and this guy's had that tag 4 times in his life already, and he's taken a bull on every hunt, and he's never taken anything less than 330. So I'm like, wow, I mean, what a gem, right? I mean, to be able to go back to a unit 4 times in your life and be hunting bulls that are in that, 300 plus category. I mean, and of those 4 bulls he took, one was a 360s bull, right? So it's like, I mean, to me, I'm an opportunity hunt kind of guy, and if there's an opportunity to harvest something mature, I mean, I don't care what the unit number is, that's all just numbers on a piece of paper to me. So I want to be able to hunt units several times in my life to get to know it, just like, anything else. So I'm excited.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. Man, that guy's killing some upper echelon bulls. And now when he draws the tag, he's got such good knowledge of the unit and has been successful 4 times over. He's beat the odds. So he's definitely doing something right. So I'm with you. I'm an opportunity hunter as well. And as tags get tougher and tougher to come by, we have to be more and more creative to make sure that we're getting to bow hunt each and every season. So I'm doing the same thing with my drawing strategy. It's constantly evolving and changing, and I'm looking for new opportunities. And a lot of these units that I've hunted in the past, like when I first started traveling for adventure bow hunting, like, man, I could get some of the best tags in the country, and I'd get them for 0 to 2 points. It was amazing. But now some of those same tags are 8, 9, 10 points. And so, I'm having to adapt and go to new places, but there's still great opportunity out there. Like, there's still a bunch of great hunts. And then also, as tags get tougher and tougher, we're going to draw less and less tags. Like, that's a given, but that means I can spend more time on that tag I do draw, and I can really give it my full effort in scouting and in hunting and setting my goals and ambitions for, like, the trophy caliber I want to harvest on those hunts. So everything's always changing. We just have to change with it, and that's exactly what you're doing, man. I'm pumped for you.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, I'm stoked, and just to the point where the opportunity thing, like I said, I was late in the game on Arizona, but it's become quite apparent, if you want to be able to go hunting, every year, but you want to chase quality animals, you really have to, and this is no secret, it's, you gotta be applying in all the states you can, and that's kind of what it's, I don't know, I guess about 6 years now, I've finally been in the draw for, about 7 different Western states. And it's just, the strategy is to have points rolling in states that have points, and you can kind of do this rotation. You hunt your home state one year for deer and then, build a couple points or whatever if you want, and then hunt another state the next year. And you just kind of have this rotation going. And I don't know, I think that's the way to do it these days if you want, just good opportunities to hunt good critters and have some fun adventures while doing it. That's just the way to do it. It's costly, right? It's, it's not cheap to apply in all these states every year, but just to touch on again, if it's your hobby, your passion, I mean, it's an investment. So.
Yeah, any of us can make it happen. And you're right. It's like the best way as a blue collar hunter is to be able to rotate through these states, be building points. And it's not cheap. A lot of these states get you with application fees, with point fees, with hunting license fees. And so it is something that you have to budget for. But you're right. When you love it and when it's important to you, you set money aside. And I just know it's my best chance to ever hunt a sheep, or it's my best chance like that. Like, and I've traveled all over the country, Alaska, Hawaii, and all over the world too, New Zealand and different places. And I love traveling and bow hunting, but really the coolest hunts, the biggest adventures, like we have it in the lower 48, the mule deer, the elk hunts, these opportunities that are out there for us to to really research and figure out these self-guided hunts where you put all this effort into to try to be successful. Man, that's what drives me. And really, it's like the coolest shit around. It's like so fun. And so yeah, like you get on that program and you continue to learn about these states and about these units. And man, it's just an absolute riot and such a fulfilling life we get to live. But Josh, man,
It's a blast,
can you believe like hour and 15 minutes already? The conversation comes so easy with you. Like we got to make sure it's not 2 years before I have you back on the podcast.
I know,
again,
man. Yeah, sorry, man. It's just busy life, right? And I appreciate any chance I can to get a hold of you. I know I reached out to you a couple times in the last couple of years just to say hi and pick your brain on something. But man, yeah, being able to sit down and talk with you is always a pleasure, Brian. And I always enjoy talking to somebody like you so much, somebody that I can relate to, and a good friend, man. So thanks for doing what you do, and I appreciate you taking the time to BS with me, brother.
Oh, dude, likewise. Pulling for your success this season, and yeah, we'll
Same,
definitely keep in touch, and won't be 2 years before I have you on again. But yeah, if you need anything, make sure to reach out, and yeah, I appreciate your friendship as well.
100%, brother. Yeah, same goes for you. You need anything, and let's maybe talk about a hunt in the near future, man. Let's get after it, dude.
Dude, let's do it. Okay, done deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Bud.
We'll talk soon.
All right, brother.
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Fun conversation with Josh. I really like that guy. Such a blue-collar, do-it-yourself, great bow hunter. I loved hearing about his sheep hunt, late-season deer. He's got some great tags this year. In fact, he drew a really good early-season tag this season. So it's a place I've got experience in that I hunted way back in the day. So not that he needs my help on it, but yeah, trying to give him some insight into that unit and where I found good bucks and trying to help him make a game plan. But super stoked for him. I can't wait to see what he turns up with his bow and arrow in this unit this next year. So thanks again for him being on the podcast. Really appreciate it. Thanks again to our sponsors that help bring out this, or help me bringing you guys this content. So thanks to Cryptech stepping up, being a sponsor on Eastmans Elevated. Again, I just have the best backcountry kit I've ever put together. Thanks to Matthews Bows. So fortunate to have Matthews on board, giving me the best shooting bows. Really love that new V3X. It's the best shooting bow I've ever owned. Every year they seem to outdo themselves, and this V3X is an absolute shooter. Also want to thank Swagger Bipods, just making real well thought out bipods. They swivel with you, adjust the legs, quick disconnect. They also have shooting sticks, so make sure to check out them at Swagger Bipods. And man, with that, just get this work done, and I'll be hunting for a week. Super excited for it. So fly out Monday here, and then hunting all week, and then return on Monday. So it'll be a quick trip, but I think I've got 5 or 6 full days of hunting, and couldn't be more stoked. Just got a good game plan together. Those guys are actually hunting today as the opener out there. So they'll be hunting. So excited to see the reports come back. But those Axis and Mouflon, they're just such a high degree of difficulty. They're so switched on and good eyesight that they take the utmost skill to be able to take and harvest those animals. But they're high opportunity. It seems like in 5 days of hunting, I can dang near get a season of experience that I would get out west, where I may get 3 stalks for a deer on a hunt. I can get 3 stalks a day out there, or even more in that quality country. And so it really speeds up the learning curve, really helps me sharpen my skills here before the main fall season kicks off. And like I say, just an absolute riot, hanging with good buddies, hunting so hard, hiking good miles, and exploring these steep lava rock canyons, and thick brush, a lot of still hunting, and it's just going to be an absolute riot. I love bow hunting, and this is a great bow hunting trip. So couldn't be more excited for that. I'll try to capture some content. I'll capture some video, capture some pictures, and I'll be releasing that to you guys here in the next couple weeks. Try to do a story with a lot of videos in it and things of that nature. So not filming the hunt, which is a good thing. I really like filming and capturing these hunts. It's really fun to put down, but I also like a mix and match of just hunting too. Being able to go out by myself and make these stalks and these plays on these animals is really fun for me. So that'll be what this trip is. So couldn't be more excited. I'm going to get my work done here, get this article done, this podcast out. Got some work for Barney Construction to get done today, and it's a good day for it as it's pouring down rain outside. So get this work knocked out, this computer work, and then got pretty much everything laid out in my garage, but start throwing it in bags and hop on a plane and get after it. So pumped, man. It's going to be awesome. But thank you guys for all the support. Listening in each and every week, giving support to the guests that are on here. It just means the world to me. So as long as you guys keep listening, I'm going to keep producing this content for you and getting these good guests and hopefully getting you that pertinent information to make you a better Western hunter. So thanks, you guys. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. And, man, with that, check in with you guys next week.